That night, my life was completely changed. As an ordinary marketing assistant, I never imagined that I would be at a wealthy banquet. The world under the crystal chandelier was so unfamiliar, gorgeous and cold. I held the wine glass, trying to make myself look less cramped. Just as I turned around, a violent dizziness suddenly hit. I thought I had drunk too much, but I knew vaguely that there was something wrong with the glass. "Do you feel okay?" A sneering voice rang in my ear. I turned my head and it was her, Samantha Clark. Everyone in the company knew that she was Ethan Blackwood's confidant and the closest woman to him. A hint of sarcasm flashed in her eyes. "What a pity. Do you still think you can get a foothold here?" I wanted to retort, but I couldn't say a word. Staggering, I pushed through the crowd and stumbled into the hallway. The lights in front of me were constantly blurring and my mind was blank. I pushed open the nearest door and fell on the soft sofa. Just when I thought I was going to pass out, a low, hoarse voice sounded in the darkness. "Who?" I looked up sharply, and the blurry figure in front of me gradually became clear. It was him, Ethan Blackwood, the man who was so cold that everyone could be silenced. At this moment, his shirt was slightly open, his eyes were dangerous with alcohol. My breath stopped for a moment. The morning sun shone through the floor-to-ceiling windows, so dazzling that I couldn't avoid it. I slowly opened my eyes, but in the next second I was completely stunned by the scene in front of me. Unfamiliar luxury suite, messy bed, and the man standing by the bed. He was wearing the shirt he had unbuttoned last night, with wide shoulders and narrow waist, and his cold features were shrouded in shadow at the moment. He was bowing his head and buttoning his cufflinks, his movements were neat and indifferent. My heart was shocked. Ethan Blackwood, the ruthless man who controlled the entire group. Why am I here? Fragments of the last night came to mind. The glass of wine handed by Samantha, the dizzy corridor, the moment the door was pushed open. Next, there was chaos. "Wake up!" His voice was low, with a hint of hoarseness, but with a dangerous edge. I opened my mouth, but I couldn't say anything. He approached slowly, his eyes so cold that it made me go cold. "Say it, Miss Bennett." His tone was like judgment. "What did you want last night?" My heart tightened suddenly. I don't want anything. I just. He sneered, his voice like a sharp blade. "Do you think you can climb up to me in this way?" "No." I shook my head in a panic, tears rolling in my eyes. "I was drugged. I don't know how I ended up here." He narrowed his eyes with disdain. "I've heard too many excuses like this." His indifference completely broke me. "You can't believe me, but I swear, I definitely don't want to take advantage of you." The air in the room was tight to the extreme. He stared down at me, his eyes burning but cold. After a long time, he suddenly said coldly, "No matter what happened last night, you'd better remember one thing. From today on, you are not allowed to mention a word. Otherwise, I will make you and your family disappear from this city completely." I nodded, shivering, my chest almost suffocating. He turned around and left the room without hesitation. At that moment, I suddenly felt like I had fallen into an abyss. When I stumbled back to the apartment, my face was as pale as a piece of paper. My roommate Lily saw me, turned off the hairdryer immediately, and came over in surprise. "Olivia, where have you been?" "I didn't come back all night last night. I was about to call the police." I opened my mouth, but couldn't tell the truth. "I drank too much and rested at a friend's place for the night." Lily gave me a suspicious look, but handed me a glass of water. "Don't do this in the future, okay? This city is not a safe place." I nodded, but I could only swallow all the fear and humiliation into my stomach. The next day at work, some rumors had already spread in the company. In the pantry, a few female colleagues lowered their voices. "Have you heard? Someone saw Olivia staying with the president last night." "Really? How could a little intern like her climb to that position?" "Oh, women. Some methods are not strange." I stood at the door, the documents in my hand almost fell. It turned out that things had started to get out of control. I turned to leave, but just happened to bump into Ethan at the end of the corridor. His eyes swept over me coldly, and the corners of his lips curled a sarcastic arc, as if last night's warning was still echoing in his ears. "Still not learning to restrain?" he whispered. I bit my lip, my voice trembling but firm. "I didn't do anything." He narrowed his eyes with a dangerous smile. "I hope you can stick to this statement." The atmosphere in the office was as cold as ever. I thought that the rumors from last night would dissipate with time, but I didn't expect that with a transfer order, I had nowhere to escape. "Bennett." The HR supervisor stood in front of my desk and said coldly, this is a new position arrangement. From today onwards, you will be transferred directly to the president's office as an assistant. I was stunned, and the documents almost slipped from my hands. What? But I've only been an intern for 2 months, and I have no relevant experience at all. The supervisor pushed his glasses and said coldly, "This is the president's decision. If there is no objection, pack up now." My heart sank suddenly. It's him. It must be Ethan behind the scenes. The eyes of the colleagues around me immediately focused on me, with sarcasm, jealousy, and more naked suspicion. Sure enough, she has a backstage. Oh, no? The CEO's office is not a place where anyone can enter. Those whispers were like sharp knives, cutting into my heart little by little. When I pushed open the door of the president's office, my breathing almost stopped. In the spacious space, he was standing in front of the French windows, his back was tall and cold. Hearing the sound, he turned around, his dark eyes fell straight on me. At that moment, I felt like I was being stared at by an eagle. "President." I bit my lip and my voice was almost inaudible. He glanced at me lightly, and his tone was indifferent. "From today on, you are my assistant. Be on call at any time." But I just opened my mouth, and he interrupted coldly. "Do you think you still have a choice?" My body froze. He took a step closer and said in a low voice, "Remember, you owe me an explanation. Since you denied that last night was a trap, then prove it to me." His eyes were forceful, like a sentence, and I have no room to resist. From that day on, I followed him almost every step of the way, sorting out documents, arranging meetings, accompanying business trips. I became the privileged intern in everyone's eyes. But only I know, this is not glory, but a kind of imprisonment. Once in the conference room, documents were accidentally scattered on the ground from my hands. I hurriedly bent down to pick them up, but in the next second, he whispered, "Clumsy." The words were cold, but accompanied by a slender and powerful hand, picked up the contract for me. The moment he handed it over, his fingertips inadvertently brushed my palm. The electric touch made my whole body tremble. I quickly retracted my hand, my cheeks were hot, and he just hooked his lips meaningfully. What made me even more confused was the way he looked at me. That kind of gaze, sometimes cold, sometimes sharp, but with a scorching heat that made me suffocate. One day during my lunch break, I overheard Samantha and a few female colleagues talking in the tea room. "It seems that the medicine didn't go down. It's a pity. I wanted to destroy her, but I didn't expect her to climb on Ethan. Oh, this time she may have the last laugh." My pupils suddenly contracted and my heart was beating wildly. It turned out that everything last night was really their conspiracy. But I can't say. Once the truth is revealed, no one will believe me. And he may be even more suspicious. I can only keep this secret in my heart. That night, I dragged my tired body out of the company. The night wind blew, but I couldn't dispel the depression in my chest. Suddenly, a black car stopped in front of me. The window slowly lowered, revealing his cold face. "Get in the car." His voice was low, with an undeniable dignity. "I can go back by myself." I tried to refuse. His eyes turned cold. "Don't make me say it a second time." I could only bite the bullet and get in the car, sitting in the co-pilot, so nervous that my palms were full of cold sweat. The silence in the car was suppressed. Suddenly, he said, "Olivia, do you know what game you are playing?" I suddenly turned my head. "I am not playing a game." His side face was cold, but his eyes were surging. "But you've made me addicted." My breathing stopped for a moment. At that moment, I finally realized that this entanglement was deeper than I had imagined.